Welcome into WagerTalk TV. We're talking Big Ten football here. Penn State Nittany Lions, Wisconsin Badgers, 12 noon Saturday. Jimmy, coming to you first as we got Jimmy Adams and Robbie Vino from WagerTalk.com. I am Drew Martin. Jimmy, coming to you. We're seeing Wisconsin, -4, -5 at some shops, 50 being the total. What are you thinking Saturday at noon as they're jumping around, Jimmy?
Yeah, thanks, Drew. A lot of steam coming in on Wisconsin. It's the side I tend to lean to, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to the window at the current price. I don't love the number. Wisconsin goes 4-3 last season. They're an old school type team. They want to run the ball. They want to dominate time of possession. They want to limit mistakes and force turnovers. And they should be able to do a pretty good job of that this year. They're not a team that's going to look to beat themselves very often. They finished 12th in the Big Ten in total offense last year, so that'll need to be corrected if they're going to have a successful season. They were 62nd in rushing in the country, and they had a lot of trouble on third downs. So third down conversions and the things I spoke of previously really need to be corrected. Quarterback Graham Mertz and running back Jalen Berger, I think, can be really good, especially if this offensive line that has been so prestigious for so many years at Wisconsin can do their job. The defense was 5th in the nation versus the run, which led the Big Ten. So they were outstanding, and we'll look for that to continue. We head over to Penn State and James Franklin. Obviously, this is a team that got off to a 0-5 start to start the season last year, which was just horrendous. And then they come back and win 4 straight. On paper, these teams look pretty evenly matched. Penn State had way too many turnovers last season, and they were still second in the Big Ten in total offense. So it's going to really come down to quarterback Sean Clifford and how well he plays. Clifford had a really good 2019 season, and then he came back, and we saw some regression last year, which is kind of weird to see a quarterback going in the opposite direction of what would normally occur. The O-line was a disaster, but the running backs are good, led by Kayvon Lee. So if the offensive line can figure out their problems similar to Wisconsin, then they're going to be all right. The defense did lose a lot of key pieces, and then we have to factor in the home field advantage factor. Wisconsin, a very tough place to go and play. And how many points to the line is that worth? Well, that's for each individual handicapper to figure out. But I'm not sure that laying 5 is a good bet, and we'll see if the line comes down. But it's Wisconsin or pass for me. I want to see Sean Clifford before I make a play on Penn State.
All right, good stuff, Jimmy. And Robbie, coming to you next. Jimmy talked about a Camp Randall, tough place to play. It is an early kick, though, Robbie. What are you thinking here, Penn State and Wisconsin Saturday?
Yeah, that's even 11 a.m. Central Time, right? I think Madison would be on Central Time. So, yeah, it's an early morning game for sure. Jimmy covered a lot of territory there. These quarterbacks, they both forced guys they were battling with out of the program, right? Graham Mertz forced Jack Cohn out into Notre Dame. Sean Clifford forced Will Levis out, and he just was named the starter for Kentucky a few days ago. So pretty good job by both of these guys beating out the guys they were battling here. I'm going to start, Drew, again with one of my favorites. These coordinators, I have favorites and not so much favorites, but Mike Yurcich, you've heard me say it before. I won't tell you what my favorite quote is of an offensive coordinator, but you've heard it enough. Mike Yurcich comes in here now to take over Penn State. It's the 3rd offensive coordinator in the last 3 years. James Franklin lost one, then fired one. He's searching for answers to get this offense the way he wants it. And this is the guy. This is the guy if you want an offensive coordinator. Brings in his pro-style spread offense, replaces what was here last year. The playbook and the terminology gets simplified, easier for Yurcich to learn the players than for the players to have to learn new terminology. Runs this offense with RPO elements, heavy RPO elements, and that favors Sean Clifford here because that's what he's best at. The tempo is going to be increased. It's the emphasis he placed during spring and fall practice. They want to go even faster here. It's a veteran team. Listen, both of these teams, Jimmy said it best. I don't know if he called them mirror images, but he said they're very much alike. And really, when you go down the list, there's a lot of similarities here. On offense, both of these teams are loaded. It's kind of strange to say Wisconsin loaded as far as on paper talent is concerned. It didn't show up on the field last year, but both of these teams are strong. And for Penn State, the return to health of Noah Cain, that running back, is paramount. That running back room now becomes insanely deep. Cain will be the lead running back this year. And Jahan Dotson not going to the pros. Some of the highlight catches he made last year for Penn State, incredible. So they've got explosiveness. The other side of the coin, Wisconsin, with Danny Davis and Kendrick Pryor, two guys who started last year and then went out after 2 games and didn't play the rest of the year except for one more game. They both come back. So Wisconsin's loaded there. But if I just focus on Yurcich for a minute, Mike Yurcich was the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Ohio State 2 years ago. They matched up against Wisconsin twice in that season, once regular season, once Big Ten title game. So Yurcich, who had a pretty decent hand in the play calling there as passing game coordinator, went up against defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, same matchup here. First game, 431 total yards of offense. Second game, you think Wisconsin would have learned something. They gave up 492 yards of offense. Yurcich saw the weaknesses in this defense, as good as it is. I'd expect him to exploit it with the talent that he has here once again. Wisconsin at home is a very, very dangerous team, obviously. I think the two weaknesses from last year, I think Penn State's is more correctable. Their defense allowed almost 28 points a game, but the total yardage per game was only 329. They lost a couple of games where they massively outgained their opponent, so I think the defense is just fine. For Wisconsin, scoring 20 points or less in 4 Big Ten games, 40 total in those 4 games that they lost. I don't know that corrects itself quick enough. Wisconsin could win the game, but I'll take 5.5 here. It's a huge game right off the bat for both teams, both with national aspirations. I'll take Penn State plus the 5.5 here and hope they can survive the crowd at Camp Randall and a little jump around.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, kicking us off with a great Saturday card here. This is 11 a.m. Central kick in Camp Randall. So good stuff from both Robbie Vino and Jimmy Adams. Check them both out at WagerTalk.com. And guys, remember, WagerTalk Odds Screen. It's free live odds. Best in the business. Check it out, the WagerTalk Odds Screen. For Jimmy Adams, Rob Vino, I am Drew Martin. Enjoy Penn State, Wisconsin on Saturday. Best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in.